Hello everyone, I'm Yolanda and I'm currently taking the Coursera class Interactive Programming in Python, which is given by Rice University. I'm going to be talking about global and local variables in Python. A global variable is a variable declared outside of a function. If you look to the code on the right, we have two variables, num1 and num2. They're both global variables because they're declared outside of any functions. Now, we add a function, myFunction, that takes in two variables a and b as parameters and declare a variable c inside the function. All three of these variables, a, b, and c, are not global variables because they're declared inside of a function. We can add another variable, num3, after myFunction, but it'll still be a global variable because it's declared outside of any functions. The scope of a global variable is the entire program. You can use num1, num2, or num3 anywhere in the program, but you can't with a, b, or c. A, b, and c are called local variables. They're declared inside of a function, and the scope of a local variable is the function it's declared in. So the variables a, b, and c can only be used and modified in the function myFunction. If we try to access the variable a outside of myFunction, we'll get a name error, meaning that the name a is not defined. The program can't find a. If we try to print a inside the function, however, our program will work just fine. I now modified our code so that there's one global variable x and two functions f1 and f2 with one local variable each, a and b respectively. The scope of the variable a is the function f1, so if we try to call a outside both the functions or in function f2, we would get an error. I mentioned before that you can access and modify global variables anywhere inside your program, so let's try that. You probably know from lecture what happens. 0 is printed, not 1, so why couldn't we modify our variable a? Let's walk through the code step by step. First, I create my variable a. It's a global variable, so anything in the program can access it. Then I create my function f1, nice and big so it can store more variables, local variables, inside. When we call a equals 1, a new variable a is created inside the function f1 called a that stores the value 1. This is completely separate from the a outside of the function, the global variable a. Now, the call to my function f1 is over and it disappears. All we have left is our original global variable a, and that's what's printed out. So then, how exactly do you modify a global variable inside a function? You have to mark the variable a as global using the global keyword. So, when we declare a in our function, we see now that it's not a separate local variable, but the same as the global variable a. Now, when we change a, we are changing the global variable a. So our function now disappears, but the global variable a still holds the value 1, and that's what's printed. Accessing global variables is different than modifying global variables. You don't have to declare the variable as global if you only want to access it, not change it. This program doesn't give an error, but returns the correct answer, 5. Let's take a look at what's going on. When the assignment b equals a plus 2 is called, the program first looks for a local variable a to assign, but seeing as there isn't one, it goes to the global variable a and makes the assignment. Now, b stores the value 5, which is returned and printed. If there was another line in f1 that declared a local variable a and assigned to it the value 7, then our answer would be 9 because the program looks first for the local variable a before seeing if there is a global variable a. We're going to go through one last example that kind of wraps up everything that I talked about so far. We want to figure out what this program outputs, first in the mystery function, then outside the function after calling it. So we create our 5 variables a, b, x, y, and z. Now we call our mystery function and create local variables x and y. We also have a variable a in our function, but it will always be the same as a global variable a. Next, we set a to 35, which changes the value of the global variable a. We swap the values for x and y, but it only modifies the values for the local variables x and y. Now, we create a new variable b, which holds the value 14, and we change the value of this local variable b to 3. Then, we create another local variable c, which will hold the value 97. Now, we print the values for these 5 numbers. It's easy to tell from our diagram which numbers are outputted. Remember that the program will always look for the local variable before the global variable unless the variable was declared to be global. Now the function is done, and so it disappears. The second set of numbers that are printed are even easier to find. We're done, and you can try this out in Code Sculptor if you want by going to the description box. I'll link it down in there. Thank you for watching, and I hope that I helped you understand global and local variables a little better.